Thank you. I've actually been looking for a job in that exact time frame, and I've been trying to figure out what to do with myself, what field to go into. So just on a whim, he didn't know I was looking for something. It was just an answer to prayer. And it's amazing how God works. This is, if you guys want to read it, that's just a little excerpt from the job application. So April 30th, I get the letter or I get the message, and I'm just looking at all the different, the background behind it, the organization that I'm working with, just trying to figure out a reason to say, no, it's not my time. But the time frame, just what the missions project was doing, I couldn't find a reason to tell God no. I couldn't, just like Jonah, trying to find an excuse not to go to Nineveh. I was trying to find an excuse not to go live in the bush of Africa. But I decided I don't want to get swallowed by a giant fish, so I went. And so I was hired by an organization called One Hope, where the internship was with One Hope. And they're based out of Florida, so I went and spent a few days with them before heading to Africa and after I got back from Africa. So this is just, hopefully this will play, just a little video about One Hope. You guys don't get to see it. So I'll just explain it to you. It worked for me, I'm sorry guys. One Hope is an international organization that's been around for about 32 years now, based out of really tough part of the country, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And it's really tough, after work or on the weekends. Do I need to speak into this? If there's nothing else to do with the rest of the internships, there's just nothing to do, so we'd go down to the beach. Nice, warm East Coast sand. And so I'm trying to get you guys motivated to do stuff. It's really tough. Yeah. So I spent some time there and working with them. Their main focus is children, and over the past 32 years, they've been able to reach over 1 billion children across the globe with all the different literature and videos that they come out with. So it is absolutely amazing for me to just be a small little part of what they're doing. Okay, hope this should play. This is on the flash drive. So I was brought on by One Hope to go work in Africa with Reaching a Generation, with their sister organizations. And Reaching a Generation just needed some help launching a new program. And this video is about where I was at in Africa and what Reaching a Generation is doing there.
Kakina Messi, mwaka ki 12 years. Anentanga kwa sikuka. Nalulutanga tuto za David ni Goliath. David nalikana nao lweka nyani. Ni agulaga Goliath yomululu. Kono nasa nana nisanga mwakulu. Antumuli mulata nuna.
2.5 months. 'Half months. 'You see the children the clothes are dirty. They have holes all throughout the clothing, and that's what they have. You know, we always hear about, oh, in third world countries they have nothing, this, that, and the other. You don't really realize how much of nothing that they have until you go. That was a real eye-opener for me. Especially here, you know, so Trace, how many pairs of shoes do you have?
Like 9? Yeah.
You're, wow. Do you share them with your sister? That's a lot of shoes, man. But you know, those kids, they walk around in flip-flops, summer and winter, and it's the same pair. Some of them, and they're smart about it too. Like they know how to make it last. They're just rubber flip-flops like you buy it at Walmart, but when the tongue broke, they got wire and wired it back just so they can have shoes for another month. And every now and then you see a shoe on the side of the road or in the middle of a field. When a shoe goes bad, they just kick it off and walk with one shoe. I'd feel too uneven. I'd have to kick them both off. And if they find another shoe along the way, they'll put that one on and walk around with two wrong shoes. But anyways, I keep losing this thing. So why I was there, the main reason why I was called over there. I was called over there because of my background in agriculture, to teach these men, women, and children how they can sustainably grow food to feed themselves. This area mainly like it said earlier, there's no jobs. So they grow their own food, and if they have any excess, if they don't sell it, they brew it and just drink all day. There is a huge issue there with drunks. And you know when it's payday, because even though there's no other cars on the road, you really have to watch where you're going, just because they have just focused so much on, okay, it's payday, I have money, I may not feed my family, but I'm going to get drunk. And that's why we're doing this, to show the children that no, there is another reason why you should grow your own fruit or vegetables, and you can feed your family off of it. You don't have to live off of what they call mili meal, which is, how many of you have had grits before or know what grits are? So it's like a cheap version of grits, and grits are already cheap. And that's what they eat morning, day, and night. So with this program, Foundations for Farming, it was started by a gentleman who was farming in Zimbabwe, but he was just losing money year after year. Brian Oldry. And he was just finding another way to grow. And it all started with him when he became a Christian. He was a tobacco farmer. And he was really convicted by Christ. You know, why am I growing something that is a poison to people if I'm trying to save lives and give them eternity? So he turned from tobacco, and from then on, you know, profits just went down. He lost everything he had. So he just turned to God, and he just turned to God to figure out what he could do to make himself profitable and still sustain what he was doing. So that's what I was teaching the kids, how they can grow food properly and just feed their families, and have, instead of just growing corn, or whatever, growing tomatoes, carrots, everything that you hate to eat, that your parents make you. They love it because it's something different. They aren't picky at all when it comes to food. So when your parents cook for you tomorrow night, be very thankful, or tonight. Be very thankful for the food that was cooked for you, even if it's not what you like. It's an option for you. So as I'm going along, feel free to ask questions. If there are any, just throw them up here about anything. It doesn't even have to be about what's on the slide. I went there to teach these kids, and I went into this classroom, and they brought all the students I was working with into this one already cramped, dilapidated classroom. And there's easily 100 kids in here, and they're just so happy to have this book. In our school system here, you get your own textbooks. Well, there, an entire grade shares 8 textbooks. So, and they're the same books for 10 years. They're all torn apart. It's just, and they aren't learning anything new because some of them are in the same grade over and over just so they can have an education. The students and teachers were just beyond excited to have their own books and something that they can call their own. That's very rare for them. This is why I was there. There were plenty of days. I was 8,900 miles away from here. That's a long ways to be from your family and your friends and everything familiar to you. This was my first missions trip. A lot of people do a small missions trip to Mexico or just a weekend one somewhere. I'd never done that. I jumped all the way in, trusted God, and went to Zambia for 5.5 months. If you're going to do missions, just go for it.
Amen.
Don't put your toes in the water. That takes forever to warm up. You just got to jump in and warm up your whole body. And I say that because, you get very discouraged while you're over there. Right now, you guys are sitting next to your friends. I didn't have my friends there. So there's days that you just get really depressed and like, God, why am I here? Like, why on earth did you call me to the middle of nowhere? And the closest grocery store, 90 miles away. And that was in another country. I had to cross a border 2 times just to go buy groceries if I went there. Could you imagine having to do that? Some people think crossing from Fresno to Clovis is crossing a border. No, this is crossing down into Mexico to go buy groceries.
And what kind of transportation did you have doing that?
So I didn't put a picture on here. I should have. You guys would have loved it. So my main transportation while I was there was a small little bike called a Rokon, 2-wheel drive, and it went a whopping 20 miles an hour. Yeah, I was flying there.
You weren't walking.
Yeah, my beard flowing back. Wind. Yes.
Where did that come from? Did you buy it when you got there, or did somebody loan it to you? Or?
So that bike was actually, the first house I lived at was built by 2 Southern Baptist missionaries in the area. And eventually they just didn't feel called there anymore, so they ended up moving. And the organization bought everything they had, the house, property, everything. So they're American Southern Baptist, and they brought that bike over there. So that's how I got around. When it was down, I had a Toyota pickup that I drive around, or what they called a bus, which was an 8 really small, like a Japanese van that it only seats 8, but they use it as a taxi and they'll cram 10, 11, 12 people in there. for 4 hours,
They got a
just shoulder
preview?
to shoulder. What was that?
They got a preview?
No, it is. I don't even
Yeah,
know what it
don't
is
worry
called.
about it.
Something. But yes,
You said that you had to drive that motorcycle.
yes.
How did you get the groceries? Did you buy like little groceries? Like cheese?
I have another picture of that actually. No, normally when we go and get groceries, I take the truck or the van. But there was one day I needed to use my bike to get over to the property I was staying at with all my groceries. And so I wish I had a picture, but the bike was this long. I could touch it tip to tip. Well, I needed to get my stuff over there, so I put a piece of plywood on the back and just piled all my groceries on there and just put it along, making sure my potatoes or nothing fell off the back along the way. But yeah, transportation is exciting if it was up running. If not, I used what God gave me, and it worked. So this is one of the schools I worked at, Kale. That's the classroom. I couldn't tell you how old that blackboard was, how old those desks were. Sitting in this classroom, I heard bats up in the corner and just squeaking all day while they're up there sleeping. Here, I was the worst in school. I hated going to school. I was like, why? Just why? I had a few months I did homeschooling because someone ran me over. And, I loved it.
You loved homeschooling, not being ran over.
Yeah, I did that.
Homeschooling. But, it just wasn't my thing. But our schools here are amazing, and I really wish I would have taken it seriously. Because these kids, this is the classroom door. There's no handle, nothing. It just closes. And so there's no way to keep animals or people out of the classroom, but the kids come to the school happily to learn every day. And they're really happy when I got there. But yeah, it's so simple, but they make it work. And so thank your teachers for what they do. Just everything. Probably one of the biggest lessons for me, and it was actually at the beginning, was Philippians 3. And I won't read the whole thing to you, but Philippians 3 is really about just not having confidence in the flesh. We become so worried about how we look or what we have, and we really don't worry about our heavenly treasures. And so, it's Paul just talking about, the reasons why he had all the rights he has to have faith in the flesh, just being Jewish born and everything. That's what he had, and so why shouldn't he believe in his flesh? Why should he put his treasures in heaven and just leave everything to Christ? These people are living that every day. They aren't worried about what they have. They're worried about the future, and that's something that Reaching Generation has done a very good job of there. It's just showing, don't worry about this. You don't need to be getting drunk every day. Just worry about the future. And so this teacher, she was the deputy head for the school. So every time she met someone, and she's the vice teacher. So, oh, I'm the vice president of Zambia. Good to meet you. She was so proud of her position, even though she's at this school. And so this is the garden at that same school. the kids were so eager to go and work in the garden. How many of you like doing yard work? Don't lie to me.
Trace is lying.
So if these kids absolutely loved being out there because they're getting to learn something that they could take home that very day and use. And then this girl just flirting with me. One of the children playing bashful at one of the children's churches. But yeah, this is, when you see that face, you realize this is why God called me here, to help these children learn about Christ and just kind of infiltrate the next generation and show them, you know, the ancient worship and, you know, worshiping the ancestors and going to the witch doctor for an earache or just whatever issues. That's not going to help. The funny story, the local witch doctor, Dr. Green, he's in his late 70s, early 80s. His whole life he's been a witch doctor. But what does he do? He sends his children and grandchildren to our children's churches so they can learn the Word of God. And when God is moving that strong, even into the witchcraft of the area, and he's sending his family to go learn about the Word of God, you know God's there and that you're over there doing something amazing. And this man, even though he's the witch doctor and he's supposed to heal people when he gets sick, he calls my boss to come and pray for him when he's sick. So, you know, you see things just slowly working into people's lives. Even if they don't change, they're seeing what God is doing and how true it is, or how awesome our God is. This is another classroom. It's all center blocks and mud. There's no windows. I was in this classroom one day, and there's a big dirt devil that went over. And, you know, this class just became a cloud instantly. Just because there's no windows, there's no door. You step up about 1.5 feet just to get inside. And that's where they go to school every day. They're happy to be there. You can't really see, but while I was there, kids that weren't even in the classes were lining up along the windows just to learn about Christ and to see what Makua was there doing. They called me Makua, white man. So, and you know, usually they'd be talking about you, but in town you hear someone, oh, Makua this, Makua that. Well, what about me? And they look at you, oh, he knows a little bit of Lozi. So, Makua.
So what's the weather like?
Oh man, the weather's worse than here. When I first got there, the weather is opposite from here. I was in the southern hemisphere, so their winter is our summer, and their summer is our winter. And so, okay, hi.
We're still going.
So when I first got there, I got into Zambia the 20th of July. Usually a warm day here. I was laying in bed and could see my breath. That's how cold it was. And under layers and layers of blankets, you know, there's... Oh. And so that's the winter. Well, summer, the hottest part of summer is October. And that's when it first starts heating up. It'd be about, on average, 116 degrees with humidity. So just sitting in a sauna, day in, day out, sleeping in a sauna, you can't get away from it. It's impossible.
Because winter, is there snow, rain?
No, their rainy season is in their summer.
Okay.
So the heat comes, and then usually November it starts to rain. So right now, it's our rainy season, it's also their rainy season.
So it's just cold, not snow, not rain or anything?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, in the winter, it's just cold. I was actually looking at the weather earlier. Today it was in the 70s with thunderstorms. So I would go for that right now. Yes.
So what were you teaching in the Grove in that weather? I mean, what?
So that, at that point in time, when it's that hot, that's usually the end of the winter door gardens. So just winter vegetables. I didn't get a chance to do that with them just because I got there so late. But in the summertime, usually in November when it starts to cool down a little and the rains come, planting corn, sorghum, different legumes, beans, green beans, things like that. That's what they're growing right now. So, and hopefully, I should be getting back right at the end of the corn harvest. So I'll be able to see that come up. I planted it right before I left, and I should be able to see it right when it's coming out of the ground. So
How long is the school day?
So the schools are extremely understaffed. The school day altogether goes from about 8 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon. But just because they don't have enough teachers, they'll have certain classes in the morning. Those kids go home at lunchtime, and then the rest of the classes go on in the afternoon. So there's one of the schools, 600 kids going there, but I think there are 8 teachers. Yeah, it's amazing the difference there is.
Is it like a requirement? Do they have to go to school, or is it a privilege to go?
It's required, but not very well regulated.
And the age is about the age when we send our kids to school?
Yes. Yeah, they go, K through 8th is public free school or primary school. And then if you want to go to high school, you have to pay for it. So most kids only get an 8th grade education if they go to school for that long. Yeah, and one amazing thing that Reaching a Generation is doing is they've stepped in with other ministry partners to feed the schools. Because that's another thing schools don't provide is food for the students. Well, since they started doing that, some of the schools' attendance has doubled. Just because the parents and children see, I can have a hot meal today. We get 3 square meals a day. Before I left, I was 250 pounds. I had more than 3 meals a day. And these kids are happy just to get 1 hot meal a day. And it's just little things like that that was really amazing. So this is one of the classrooms at the school. This is the school. You know, this is the headmaster principal's office. And they have built a new building over here, but again, no windows. And just for me to get to this school, I had to, after getting off the tar road, it was about a 2-mile drive in the sand. And these kids, school starts at 8. Sometimes if we'd have to leave early to go down to the border and go get groceries or do our shopping, we leave 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. There's kids already walking to school at that time, just because it takes so long. And so they get home 7 o'clock at night after leaving school at 4, and get home at 7, cook for their family, their siblings, and then get up at 5 to get ready and go to school the next day. So thank your bus drivers. We're excited to see them.
Ryan? So like in that situation or that setting right there, what kind of wildlife is around there?
So in this area, it is fairly populated, so the wildlife does kind of keep its distance. But there are some animals that are, you'd classify them in, I can't even think of it, kind of the deer family. A lot of, I did see a lot of impalas one day. Just a big pack of impalas crossing the road. But in the whole area, there's a national park, I'd say 20 kilometers off the road. And so they have everything back there. There's elephants, giraffes, there's different cats, lions, and stuff like that. And I never saw any of them. But where I was living is, I didn't put a picture of it either. But this is their one meal a day. So this is some of the students eating beans and shima.
What's Shiva?
It's like, it's a really highly processed corn meal. So sometimes corn, sometimes sorghum. There's no nutritional value to it. It's more of a filler. Way in the back.
Do they have play day at school, or do they just work all day?
For the most part, it is work. They would have lunch and everything. And in the afternoon, sometimes they'd have different activities. Sometimes they were cleaning up the grounds. Sometimes they're doing sports. And just like school here, different afternoons, they have extracurricular activities. So, but very limited. I mean, a soccer ball for them was a ball of cloth that they'd ball up and then wrap strips of cloth around. And that was their soccer ball. They'd kick that around, and I'd kick it around with them. And they were blown away by that. Like, whoa, Makua knows how to play football.
Football.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, you said you went to the grocery store. Where exactly was the grocery store?
So I was in Zambia, in a small town called Sioma. And I'd have to drive 80 miles to the border, go across the border into Namibia, and then into a town called Katima. And then a proper grocery store like going to Save Mart. But it's that far away just to get groceries. So could you imagine that? 2 hours drive. That's just driving an hour going through the border just to get groceries. But I love it. I'm going back. Keeps you skinny. You really realize what food you want when you have to go so far for it.